Morrison is facing scrutiny because he leads a democracy. There are checks and balances in a democracy. A leader can't just do whatever he wants. But China, we know, is different. China's leader Xi Jinping can do pretty much what he wants. He can jail rivals, he can punish dissidents, he can crack down on any form of opposition, and he does. It doesn't matter where the target lives. China, we know, has scant respect for borders. So it goes after people all over the world. This includes Chinese citizens, 10,000 of them. They've been targeted. This is part of a secret operation called Operation Skynet, launched in 2014, around the same time when Xi Jinping launched his anti-corruption campaign. An NGO has uncovered some details. It says in the last 8 years, China has forced 10,000 people to return. Beijing calls them fugitives. The NGO says they're targets for the Chinese state. Beijing says they returned voluntarily. The NGO says the long arm of the Chinese state forced them to. 3 tactics, we're told, were used on these targets. Number 1, their relatives were kidnapped. Number 2, agents were sent overseas to intimidate them. And number 3, some were just abducted. The Chinese agents just picked up the targets and brought them back. Who are these targets? Well, anyone that Beijing considers an enemy. Initially, Skynet focused on targeting government officials who fled China. 18,000 of them were believed to be on the run, but now this campaign has been institutionalized. An anti-graft body has taken over. It keeps an eye on millions of Communist Party officials and public employees. Reports say the campaign has spanned more than 120 countries. Chinese agents went after their targets in countries like the United States, Australia and Canada. One of the victims was Daniel Su. He's an American citizen. He was barred from leaving China for 4 years. Why? Because Beijing wanted Daniel Su's father to return to China. He was accused of embezzling $63,000 about 20 years ago. Su's father served as the chairman of a Chinese real estate company. So to punish him, his son, American citizen Daniel Su, was taken hostage by the Chinese state for 4 years. Another victim was Zheng Ning, a former executive of a Chinese state-owned enterprise. He returned to China from France. Zheng Ning was forced to come back. How? Undercover agents from China began paying him a visit in France. China says Zheng was quote-unquote persuaded to return. Other versions say he was pressurized and perhaps blackmailed. The most shocking case was this one. In the United States, China has been recruiting Americans to serve as spies, American spies. Beijing wanted to avoid sending too many Chinese spies to the US, so for one operation they hired a former New York police officer. This man was involved in an extraction operation from 2017 to 2019. A couple was harassed, stalked and coerced. Just like the rest, they were being forced to come back to China. You see the pattern now. China has legalized abductions with Skynet. Chinese spies are operating on foreign soil with impunity and in some of the world's most powerful countries. Even the pandemic could not stop Chinese agents from hunting their targets. In 2020 alone, more than 1,400 of them were brought back to China, forced to come back to China. After Xi Jinping took power in 2012, more than 600,000 Chinese nationals have fled the country. Asylum requests from China worldwide has shot up by 700% in 8 years. These people are fleeing Xi Jinping's rule. With Skynet, the Chinese president wants to create a sense of fear among those who left and those who plan to leave. The message for all of them is clear: the dragon can reach anywhere. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.